Just turn the time over to Lola. She'll speak for a while, and then she's very willing to answer questions. So, John, there you are. Come on up.
Thanks. I haven't known Lola for as long, only about 30 minutes, but she's one of my role models too. So, no, it's really my pleasure to be able to stand here and introduce Lola Strong. Just a little bit about her. As a young woman, she dreamed of changing the world and the difference that she could make in the world. But that all changed in 1998 when she was prescribed painkillers. Her life quickly developed into a all-consuming addiction to heroin, and her downward spiral led to a place where all drug addicts eventually end up, and that's prison. And after rehab and jail and prison and a kind of a cycle of all three, an empathetic judge gave her the choice to complete a 2-year program at Delancey Street instead of serving another 5-year sentence, her fourth. Today, Lola is a co-founder of the Other Side Academy, and that original opportunity at Delancey Street changed her life. She's gone on to help numerous people overcome addiction and really change their lives. She's the managing director of the Denver facility, and most important, Lola is able to use her skills and her experience in overcoming drugs herself to be able to benefit the lives of those that she helps out. And so we're so excited to hear from her today, and I won't delay it anymore. So everyone, please give a round of applause for Lola Strong.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm really happy to be here tonight. Your campus is beautiful. I mean, it's an amazing campus. What a wonderful place you get to come and learn and decide who you want to be. Future leaders of America right here in this room. And that's, I feel blessed and humbled to be here. So again, my name is Lola Strong. And before I start, I just want you guys to know something really important. I'm an Aggies fan. Not a Zubies fan, an Aggies fan. Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to thank Mike Lazar for inviting me here to speak. I've known Mike and his lovely family for many years, and they've been strong supporters of the Other Side Academy and our mission. It's always an honor and a privilege to be able to come out and teach the TOSA gospel. TOSA is the Other Side Academy. And so I feel really blessed and fortunate to be here and to tell you a little bit about myself, my journey, and what I get to do today. I want to ask you guys all a question. Have you ever been in a situation where you really made a bad mistake and you wish you had done things differently? Anybody? Yeah, good. You wish that you got a second chance so you could do it over? I want to talk to you today about a powerful idea that helps you achieve whatever you want in your life, no matter what the circumstances are or how long you've been in those circumstances. It really doesn't matter. So you're probably thinking, what am I talking about, right? I'm talking about the power of a second chance. The power of a second chance. Tonight I'm going to tell you about my life that's been filled with a series of second chances, some better than others, but collectively those second chances led me to who I am today in my life. A second chance can mean the difference between life and death, between success and failure, and between hope and despair. I know this firsthand because I was given a second chance and it changed my life forever. But before I get into all of that, I want to tell you a little bit about me. I was born and raised in New Jersey. I know, New Jersey. I had big hair, really big hair. I'm the youngest of 5 siblings. I have 3 older sisters and an older brother. My parents were immigrants from Russia who came to the United States in search of the American dream. Growing up in a strict Muslim household with immigrant parents, I always felt different than everybody else. That was because of the huge culture shock I would get whenever I walked out of the house and could see things on the outside were different. The culture, the language, the food, the atmosphere in our home was the total opposite of what you would expect in America. But despite all of that, I had a great family upbringing filled with love, culture, valuable lessons about family, hard work, and the importance of education. Later on, however, things would take a very drastic turn in my life. In my early 20s, an injury sent me to the hospital, and because of that injury, I was prescribed pain medication. Little did I know that that would be an introduction to a battle that I could never have imagined. When I took the painkillers, I fell in love with the way they made me feel. They gave me confidence and lowered my inhibitions. Eventually, the pain and the need for the painkillers subsided, but my desire to take them continued. It was a feeling unlike anything I'd ever experienced in my life, and I wanted more. This became the introduction to my addiction to opiates. Because opiates weren't as heavily regulated back then, getting my hands on them was easy. In fact, you could say my doctor was my first drug dealer. But after an extended period of time, the doctors caught on to my ruse and refused to give me any more. But it was too late. I was already addicted. I had a strong desire to experience that euphoria. That feeling was too good to ignore, so I began to seek other ways of getting that feeling once again, ways that were highly illegal. My sister was a doctor. I would steal her prescription pads and use her DEA number to write my own prescriptions, never caring for the legal repercussions for her as a medical professional. That was the beginning of putting others at risk for my own purpose and pleasure. By 1992, I had become the poster child of what we would eventually coin the term the opiate epidemic. I was then introduced to heroin. Things got worse. This brought me further down my path of addiction. I went from being a normal kid with a great upbringing and a bright future to being admitted to mental institutions, rehab facilities, jails, and eventually prison, and the unforgiving streets. I had transformed into a selfish monster that would go to any lengths to get that feeling, even if it meant lying, stealing, hurting the people that I loved. I did whatever I had to do to get money to support my addiction. Overdosing several times didn't stop me, neither did getting arrested. Eventually, I was homeless on the streets of Southern California. In addition to everything else that was going on in my life, I discovered that I was pregnant. I thought to myself, maybe, just maybe, having a child would give me the strength and the will to stop my destructive lifestyle. Maybe caring for a beautiful, innocent child growing inside me would be the turning point in my life that had been completely turned upside down. I was wrong. It was at this point in my life where everything was in complete chaos. It was at this moment that I began to realize that you can't get sober for somebody else. You have to want to do it for yourself. Soon, I gave birth to a beautiful baby boy, and because of my lifestyle, he was born addicted. I realized I was in no shape to be the mother he deserved. I wanted the best opportunity for him to succeed in life. In a selfless moment of clarity, I decided to give him up for adoption. I felt such loss and sadness over not being able to stop using and be the mother that my child deserved, that my life continued to spiral out of control. I was on my way to prison for the 5th time when I heard about a place where the judge would potentially suspend a prison term in order for someone to seek the help that they needed to change their lives. This triggered me, and I thought to myself, maybe, just maybe, this is my opportunity. In a moment of hopeless desperation, I wrote a letter to this program called Delancey Street Foundation. I'd reached a point where I was ready to change my life, but I just needed help to do it. I knew I couldn't do it alone. This letter was the beginning of my second chance. God had truly answered my prayers, and as a result of deciding to write that letter, I was accepted into a program that would allow me to seek help instead of going to prison again. The day I arrived, the very first person I encountered was somebody that I knew. We knew each other well. We lived the same lifestyle, and we were both at rock bottom. She looked the same, and I recognized her, but everything else about her was different. She was beautiful, healthy, and she carried herself with such confidence. Clearly, she had been given her second chance. That was all the proof that I needed. If she could change, I could too. I went through a long, hard journey of recovery. I wanted to give up so many times, but I didn't. For the first time in my life, my peers began holding me accountable for the way that I was acting and reacting. I learned how to deal with my feelings and emotions and realized that my inability to properly deal with them was the reason I turned to drugs in the first place. I began to pay attention to why I did the things that I did and how I could be different. I began to focus on how I could fix myself. I was completely responsible for all of the bad decisions I had made up until this point, and I was the only one that could take ownership over fixing them. It wasn't easy. In fact, it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I had to face my demons head on and confront the things that led me down the path of addiction in the first place. But I did it. I worked hard every single day, and slowly but surely, I began to get a glimmer of hope for my future. I completed my 2-year court-ordered commitment and decided to stay a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th, and almost a 6th year. Helping others became my new drug of choice, and it gave me purpose. I'm here standing before all of you today to tell you that the Delancey Street Foundation, my second chance, saved my life. Today I'm proud to say that I've been sober for 14 years. Thank you. And I've learned some really important lessons. I've learned that second chances aren't just given to make up for mistakes that we make. They're given so that we could be even better than we were before we fell. The mistakes we make have the power to transform us into something so much stronger than we were before. They give us the power to view life from the other side. I'm the managing director of a program called the Other Side Academy's Denver campus. The Other Side Academy is a wonderful program that helps people just like me transform into the best versions of themselves. It gives others the same second chance that I got. The Other Side Academy is a 30-month residential program where students relearn social skills and receive vocational training. Life skills like conflict resolution and responsibility are taught alongside self-empowerment. These skills prepare our students to confidently re-enter the community as contributing members of society. They emerge with a healthy life on the other side. The power of the Other Side Academy lies in its peer-driven approach. We're a therapeutic community. This means the entire program is run by individuals who have struggled with the same issues as our students. We have no doctors and no therapists. This peer-driven approach is effective in giving the leaders of the program instant credibility in the eyes of our students. It also fosters an environment of trust by creating strong connections forged by similar life experiences. There are two ways that you can get into the Other Side Academy. You can write us a letter from jail or walk in off the streets. The lights are always on, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. We provide a refuge for individuals with a history of chronic substance abuse and incarceration. 90% of our population that we serve have experienced homelessness and have criminal backgrounds. Many have been perpetually spun through the rinse and repeat cycle that's become our rehabilitation system, which we know is broken. A stint in rehab or a prison sentence doesn't address the core issues that prevent these individuals from successfully rejoining society. Our program focuses on behavior change and building positive relationships with others, emphasizing connection, honesty, integrity, and accountability. The success of the program is evident in the transformed lives of our students. They become successful individuals that inspire others to make changes in their own lives. This is because they've seen firsthand the power of the program to provide a supportive community and the tools necessary for lasting change. We believe that it's never too late to become a great member of society. We believe in the power of second chance, and we've seen that power work within our own lives and the lives of those in our program. 79% of the men and women who successfully complete our program don't recidivate or relapse. 79%. They hold jobs, they support families, and become productive members of our community. The Other Side Academy launched in 2015 when Joseph and Sheila Greddy had a vision to replicate the Delancey Street model. We began our first campus on 7th East and 100 South. We purchased the old Armstrong Mansion. Does anybody know the Armstrong Mansion? It's a beautiful mansion. You got to go visit it. And we began accepting students. 3 years after our launch, we must have been making some really, really good noise because we had a visit from the governor and mayor along with 160 civic leaders from Denver, Colorado. The entire delegation was blown away with our model and our success rate and asked us if we'd be willing to start a second campus in Denver. 4 years ago, in May of 2019, we landed in Denver to launch our second campus. The Other Side Academy has become the benchmark for others across the country. Our approach is unique that it focuses on behavior change and building positive relationships with others rather than solely addressing the physical and mental effects of addiction. We don't just get people clean and sober. The Other Side Academy is about whole person change. By teaching students how to live a life of connectedness, honesty, empathy, and accountability, the program helps them create a foundation for a successful and fulfilling life. Another unique part of our model is that we don't accept any government funding. We own and operate our own vocational training schools that generate profit. Have you ever heard of a profitable nonprofit? It's pretty cool, huh? These training schools teach our students marketable skills. These profitable businesses cover the operational expense so we can allow students to come to us free of charge. As the managing director of the Other Side Academy, I'm so humbled that I get to witness the beauty and the power of human transformation every single day. Now, the Denver campus is growing at an unbelievable pace. The vision is to expand our campus just as we have here in Salt Lake City in order to serve more men and women. We want to bring hope, transformation, and the power of second chances to even more people. Second chances are incredible. The power of my second chance didn't just end with me getting my life back and getting sober and being given this honorable mission in life to help other people. I was blessed to have met a wonderful man when we were in Delancey Street. We went through the program together and we worked on reinventing our lives. We became best friends through this process. After we graduated, we began dating and both helped launch the Salt Lake City campus, along with a friend and mentor, Dave DeRocher. We were married in 2019, barefoot on the beach of Bora Bora. Yeah, it was really cool. Our families were there to witness our love and the commitment to each other. We had a fairy tale wedding, the happily ever after I never thought was possible when I was in the darkness of my addiction. Not only did I get to marry him, but we run the Other Side of Academy's Denver campus together, so I get to essentially save lives with my husband. Remember my son? I was also blessed and fortunate to be able to reunite with him last year. He was 18 years old when we met for the first time. He's such an amazing young man. He's smart, outgoing, and athletic, and so much more. I give thanks every single day for the relationship that we're learning to build with one another. Just when you think things can't get any better, God continues to bless us. As you reflect on my story, I ask you to realize any mistakes, anything that you may have done in your life that you regret does not have to define you. We all make mistakes, but it's how we bounce back that defines us. There are some people who believe that once you make a mistake, you're doomed to repeat it over and over again, but I'm here to tell you that is simply not true. A second chance can change everything. Think about all the successful people that we know in life. I can guarantee you they didn't get to where they are today by being perfect. They made mistakes, encountered obstacles in their life just like you and me, but they learned from those mistakes and kept moving forward. They didn't let their past define their future. I want you to remember that a second chance can come in many forms. It's all according to your individual life. It could be a new job, a new relationship, or a new opportunity to live out something you've always dreamed of doing. Whatever it is, embrace it with open arms. Don't be afraid to take risks. You never know what might happen. A great example is Robert Downey Jr. You guys all know him, right? Iron Man. He was a talented actor. He struggled with addiction for many years. He lost his job, went to jail, and hit rock bottom. Many people wrote him off and said his career was over, but he didn't give up. He decided one day that he wanted to change and began to work hard towards becoming the best version of himself. All that inner work paid off, and eventually he landed the role of Iron Man. That role completely resurrected his career and restored his confidence as a human being. Today, he's one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. He's also well respected, and this all came from his second chance. I want you all to understand that everyone has the power to change their lives. You have the power to change your life. People that are at rock bottom from addiction can change their lives. With the right mindset, the desire to change, and a great support system, you can overcome anything. That's the message that I want all of you to carry away with you today. No matter where you are in your life, no matter how far down you feel you may have fallen, you always have the power to turn things around. You always have the power to fight for your second chance. It might not be easy and it might take time, but it is possible. In closing, I want to remind you that life's going to throw us curveballs. No obstacle is insurmountable. Never give up. Keep working. Keep pushing forward, even when things seem impossible. Because I promise you, the reward on the other side is worth it. The reward of a second chance at life, or a second chance to be the person you're always meant to be, is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Thanks for listening. Public speaking is really scary. It's not my strong suit. I'd rather let other people do it. But when I'm asked, I always like to come out and talk a little bit about my life and the things that I went through, hoping that I can just inspire somebody else. Truth breeds truth. I would love to offer the opportunity for anybody to ask me any questions about my life or about the organization that I run. You guys all want ice cream, don't you? Yes. So this is, yeah. So the unique thing about the Other Side Academy is that we don't accept any government funding. It's a 2.5-year program, and everybody's able to come to us free of charge. So we have vocational training schools, we call them, opportunities for students to learn marketable skills that generate money. Has anybody ever seen a other side moving company truck? We're rated top moving company in Utah. Men and women work at these social enterprises, and they generate money. Last year, the Denver campus, in 3 years, made $2.2 million. And every time a judge allows somebody to come to the Other Side Academy, that saves taxpayers money. Because you know that the taxpayers pay for everybody that goes to prison. So we started the moving company, and as we started the moving company organically, we started getting product donations, furniture donations. So we would store all of this furniture, and then we would have these yard sales, and we were making a big profit. So we decided we needed to get a storefront. So now in Salt Lake, we have 2 thrift boutiques, a moving company with 12 trucks. We have the Other Side builders that go out and do home improvements on homes. We also had a food truck that we started for a little while. That didn't go that well, though. And in Salt Lake, in Denver, we're also replicating by having a moving company there, a storage component where people can store their furniture, and we also have a furniture boutique. Yes? Yeah, we pay them by helping them get their lives back. A little bit later on in their stay, they get a stipend. We give them $50 a month, which increases every couple of months, so they can learn how to manage money, maybe go out, see a movie with some of their peers, realize that they can have a good time without the use of drugs and alcohol. But essentially, we provide them with clothing, hygiene, food, treatment, wraparound services, if you will. I mean, wraparound services is a loose term, but they get a lot. Yes? Most of the people that come to the Other Side Academy make a drastic change. We don't just get people clean and sober. We focus on the underlying issues. We try to get to the core of why they turn to drugs and alcohol. And it's completely transformational. People learn how to have healthy boundaries. People learn how to deal with their anger. People learn how to deal with its emotional maturity, recalibrating their moral compass. But I think the success of our program really lies in the fact that it's 2.5 years long. There is no way that you were going to take somebody like me that had been to prison 4 times and had been addicted for as many years as I was and send me to a 30-day program and think that I was going to be able to find my solution. I needed high levels of accountability. I needed to go through hard things. And that made me change. And I started learning new tools, and I started getting really good at using them. Yes, sir. Yeah, so we have something at the Other Side Academy called 200% accountability. I'm not only going to be accountable for myself doing the right thing, but I'm going to hold everybody around me accountable. And that's not really easy. You know, people that come from the streets and come from prison, they don't really, if it's not affecting them, you call them a snitch or a rat. So really helping them change that mind frame and teaching them that helping somebody and caring about somebody is when you're going to say, hey, what you're doing is not okay. You need to stop doing that, and then go let a leader know. That's something that is, I think, really, really important, learning how to have boundaries. We also have groups twice a week where we learn conflict resolution. If I'm having a problem with you, I can go into a group and I can learn how to tell you how I feel about what you did and try to figure out a way to sort through it. Yes? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In Salt Lake, we started from fresh. We didn't have any students, so the people that implemented the culture were me and Steve and Dave and the people that had been in Delancey Street. But when we started the Denver campus, we went with a group of people, a freshman, a sophomore, a junior, a senior, a couple of men, so that they were able to build and start growing the culture. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think when you're somebody who's kind of lived a life where you've made some bad choices and you've got, to a really bad, dark place in your life, and you start having the ability to fix it, gratitude kind of comes easy, and being humble, it comes easy. The guys on the moving company, they go out there and you hire us to provide a service, but at the end of the move, we'll explain to you who we are and what our mission is, and that just elevates the experience altogether. We have a little joke that we tell that I'll share with you. The reason we're so good at the moving company is because we were the same people that were coming into your home when you were sleeping and taking your furniture out the window. So we have experience moving furniture. But now, since we're transforming our lives, you're actually reaching out to us, knowing who we are, and saying, will you please come and move, the most important items in my life from point A to point B. These movers are probably the most tattooed, such, good workers. The experience that they give you is just above the bar. We really are dominating the market with the moving company. And it's, they see these reviews with their name in it, and that also does something to their self-esteem and their self-worth. Yes?
So talking more about that, I can imagine with your movers being people who were in prison,
Mm-hmm.
addicted,
Mm-hmm.
there's got to be some bias against them.
Mm-hmm.
How has it been helping to get customers to trust that this moving company isn't going?
I think in the beginning we struggled, but we just got so many reviews. If you go on, you're going to see us as, somebody that has only 5-star reviews. But we're transparent about it. It's on our website. It tells that the Other Side Academy Movers is part of the Other Side Academy's vocational training school. People might be apprehensive, but then they start to read these reviews, and you would think some of these reviews that you're reading, that they're reviewing a spa experience. I mean, they're just phenomenal. They really are phenomenal. I mean, they're the kind of people that will move something, and if they think they nicked your wall, other moving companies are just not going to say anything about it, but they're going to actually stop in the middle of the move and say, excuse me, but I want to hold myself accountable because I think that I did this. So have any of you moved and experienced moving? It's a terrible experience, isn't it? It's horrible. But it is so different when you hire the Other Side Movers. They're not on their cell phones. They're not listening to rap music. Excuse me if you like rap. I don't. But, they're not taking cigarette breaks. They're not on the phone. They have ownership in this because they know that by going out and moving and generating money, it's just paving the way for others that don't even know that they need us yet, the opportunity to come to a place and fix their lives, the same opportunity they were given. Yes? I think the first step is to call them on their poop. Yeah, you got to call them on their stuff. Let them know that you know and that you care about them. And if they're open to it, lead them to, a place where somebody with experience can kind of talk to them. But, a lot of times I think what happens, because people don't know how to deal with it, it's like the pink elephant in the room, and you just want to act like it's not happening. And I believe that's the wrong way to address it. You got to call them on their stuff. If you care about them, that's what caring about them really looks like. And I think that, I spent 20 years. I went to so many rehabs. I went to rehabs because my parents were dragging me by my ear, and then I started going voluntarily. You got to just get to a point in your life where you're just so disgusted with your life. I remember I would have moments of clarity when I would be waiting for my connection in the morning at a gas station, and I would wait for that darn man forever. And during the time that I was waiting, I would see people like you pull in to get gas, and you'd be smiling, and you'd be happy, and you'd have kids in the car. And I'd think to myself, how did I get to this point in my life? I always wondered what it was like to be you. So you really have to get to that point where you want to do something different. And getting arrested and going to prison sometimes kind of motivates people too. And sometimes we get people that come to us because they don't want to go to jail and prison. But it's not a get out of jail free card. It's such a high level of accountability that we do not let people fly under the radar. So even if the motivation initially was, I don't want to go to prison again, something changes while they're there. They start to feel good about themselves. We start giving them responsibilities to mentor other people, to welcome new men and women in the house and help them assimilate. And something about being selfless and serving somebody else, it just does something to that hole, that emptiness. You begin to fill it. And you start to see a shift. I mean, I can tell you countless stories about, people that have been in generations of gangs that are now the kindest, most empathetic, compassionate men that are helping other people. I encourage you all, if you're ever in the neighborhood, stop by the Other Side Academy. The walls breathe love there. When you get an opportunity to meet some of these extraordinary men and women that are working hard at transforming their lives, you become addicted to the environment. You really do.
Your associate Dave came and spoke to us last year, I think it was.
Yeah.
He talked about how the business plan could not have been successful without his experience.
Yeah.
Would you speak a little bit on that as well?
Yeah, we knew the moving company because we had the movie company in Delancey Street. So it's, we have a saying at the Other Side Academy, each one teach one. So really just teaching each other, how to wake up every day, show up, take directions from a boss, work as a team. It's all of those work ethics that we try to develop and instill in everybody. Yes. Crucial Conversations. Yeah, it's a great book. Yeah. Yeah. So we know the population that we serve. We know that people are going to come and they're going to make mistakes. We do have a way that we deal with mistakes, and we call it community service. A lot of people will be reluctant to say they made a mistake because they associate it with handcuffs going on or people telling them to get out. So what we do at the Other Side Academy is when you make a mistake, you just get some community service. It's a time when during your free time you are washing some dishes or vacuuming or doing something, and it's giving you a chance to kind of think about the mistake you made and start to think about consequences. And as somebody's walking by you, they'll say, hey, what are you on community service for? And you'll say, being late 2 hours, having a bad attitude 6 hours. It's kind of, saying that over and over again makes you think about the consequences and makes you try to fix some of those defects in your character. Yeah. Yeah. In Salt Lake, we have 110 students. And in Denver, we just went over 60. We have 61 students. Yeah, and we're in the process. Denver is growing so much. We were in a temporary location for 3 years. In July, we relocated into a big, beautiful mansion. When we relocated in July, which was only 8 months ago, we had 32 students. So we've doubled in capacity over the last 8 months. We're in the process of buying another house now that'll give us the ability to never have a waiting list, be able to take men and women when they're ready, and be able to house more people and help more people. A lot of people ask us, what made you pick Denver? We didn't pick Denver. Denver picked us, and we're so glad that they did because there's a big need for a place like the Other Side Academy in every metropolitan city, but they've just been so supportive and really love what's going on in our home and what we're doing to make the community a better place. Yeah.
I know you said 79%
Mm-hmm.
people make it all the way through
Mm-hmm.
with no relapse, which is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But what number of people make it all the way through the entire program?
Yeah, we find that within the first 2 weeks is when people will, walk away. So we have about 30% of the students that enter within the first 2 weeks walk away. And we don't like that because we work so hard at getting the judge and the district attorney and people bought in, and there's so much that goes into getting them there. So we're always looking at ways to innovate to change that rate. We want to be able to retain more people. But 70% of the people that make it beyond the first 2 weeks make it to graduation. Yeah. Yes. No, I will say this. 65% of the people in our community electively decide to stay a third year. They love what's going on. They love what's going on with them. Some of them have been using for decades, and they know 2.5 years is a long time, but they just want a little more time to keep practicing the new tools and building new habits and helping other people. I was kind of comparing it to a mission. Who's been on a mission? Or you know people that have been on a mission. How many people at the end of 2 years of your mission would say, sign me up for one more year? And so I know we're doing something right. It's a family environment. Every staff member lives at the Other Side Academy. It's not a 9-to-5 job. I believe that I survived some years of my addiction and went through really hard things and crawled my way out of the dark place that I was in because I was meant to be a part of an organization that helps other people restore hope that they can do it too. I think I'm the luckiest person in the world and I have a great job. Don't get me wrong, my bucket is empty sometimes. It really is. But just watching them come in and not be able to make eye contact and their shoulders are slumped and there's a lot of trauma that goes on with women and being able to mentor them and be able to see them start believing in themselves again. And they go on to do great things too. We have people that go on to do formal education. They're getting jobs with great organizations. They start entry level and they're being promoted. They're getting their children back in their lives and their families back in their lives. It just has just like it had a ripple effect when they were living a negative life, it has a ripple effect with them turning their lives around too. Yes. Yeah. Influencer was the book that he wrote many years ago when he was studying and writing about behavior change. And when it came to the part about the book where he was dealing with recidivism, which is something that's really hard, and he found the very best place in the world that was doing the best at helping with recidivism, and that was Mimi Silver in Delancey Street. So he learned about the model years ago when he wrote the book Influencer, and then fast forward, he started to experience addiction with some of his own family members, his sons, and they knew that there was this organization that was doing such great things, but it was hard to get people there because if you're on probation here or parole here, it's hard to leave the state. So that's when he said, this is ridiculous. We have to bring the Other Side Academy we have to bring the Delancey Street model to Salt Lake City. So he had the desire and the passion to do it, but he didn't have anybody that knew the culture. So he started to scrub LinkedIn, looking for people that had been in Delancey Street for a long time. And that's when he met Dave and me and Steve. And we met with him, and, he's probably one of the most altruistic men I've ever met. He really just wanted to develop a program that could save people that are on the margins of society. And we've done a really good job of it because we have people all over the United States that hear about the Other Side Academy, and they come and they pay to do replication training because they want to know what we're doing that's creating these results. Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, thousands and thousands over the past 7 years. I wouldn't even know, but a long time. We just accepted somebody recently where the judge suspended 2 6-year terms that were running, not consecutive, but running wild. So that's 12 years over his head if he doesn't successfully complete. And he's doing a great time. He's doing a great job. Some people just have never been given the opportunity, or they didn't know that a place like this existed. People will get out of jail and they'll say, gosh, I've been in jail or prison for the past year. This time things are going to be different. But they don't have a job. They don't have a car. They don't have a place to live. They burnt bridges with their family. They're so overwhelmed with the attention. Every area of their life needs attention that they usually just say, screw it, and go back to what they know. The Other Side Academy gives them an opportunity where they can just press pause on life and focus on themselves with the right mentorship. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. One of my happiest moments was when the Salt Lake City Police Department came, and they wanted to have some training about how we do accountability so that they could instill it with their own officers. We've had a number of organizations come. A few years ago, we had Starbucks come because a lot of their baristas are younger people, and they wanted to learn what we're doing in our organization that can help them with accountability in their different stores. That's kind of cool when Starbucks comes to you and says, what are you doing? Because we want to use what you're doing to become better. And that makes you feel really proud. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, we knew that the moving company was going to be something that we were going to excel at because it's a service of moving furniture. And then in addition to all of the character building, where we teach people how to be honest and have accountability and have boundaries and have integrity, I think it just elevates the experience. And we had the staff members from Delancey Street too that would help train, and then once they got good at it, they would in turn train. Each one teach one. When A helps B, A gets better. Yes. Yeah, that's always a really good question. It would be to pay attention, like the other gentleman asked me, to pay attention. And if you feel like somebody's in a bad place, whether it's depression or addiction, talk to them and let somebody know. Let somebody know that can actually help them. But avoiding it or ignoring it is certainly not the way to do it. I know you have a lot of peers in school, and you'll continue to have peers when you move into the workplace. If you see somebody who's struggling, reach out your hand and offer help, offer guidance. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we really want to go to scale. Initially, when Joseph asked us to join him, it wasn't just to start the one in Salt Lake City, but it was to scale and to continue to grow. But we don't want to grow too fast. We need to have the right leadership, and we grow our leaders from within. Students will finish 2 years. They'll electively decide to stay a third year, and if we see good leadership qualities in them, we'll ask them to join a program that we've developed called the Staff and Training Program, which is 12 months long. So it really takes a long time for somebody to actually get their own lives together before they can really start managing and being in a leadership role to help other people. But our plan absolutely is to any other metropolitan city that wants a bench, we want to go and be able to provide the same opportunity to others that need it. Right now, I would say about 20% of the people that come to the Other Side Academy in both the Salt Lake campus and Denver are people that come from out of state. They see a video, they see something on TikTok, and they call us and we interview them, and then we fly them out. Yes? No, I'd love to talk about the village. So another major problem that we have in all of our cities, every metropolitan city, is homelessness. And a lot of times homelessness is associated with mental health issues. So the Other Side Academy doesn't deal with people that have mental health issues. So we decided to take our model and to help the unsheltered. We're going to be doing 500 tiny homes, and they're not tiny. They're not bad tiny homes. They're really nice tiny homes. So it's not just the housing first model. Everybody thinks that the solution for homelessness is just to house them, but you need to do more than house them. You have to get them the mental health treatment. You got to help them get on their meds. You have to teach them how to do things that are character building. So we're going to teach them the same model that we use with people from the criminal justice system is the same model that we're going to attempt to use to try to solve the homeless issue as well. The mayor, Mendenhall, is on board. They've donated a large piece of land. Some of the tiny homes have already been built. And so it's going to be just keep looking out for more news about the Other Side Village. It's a really exciting thing that we've decided to do. Yes? Yeah, it's growing. There's such a high demand. Initially, we just had the mansion, and I had the women on the very top floor and the men on the bottom 2 floors, but we got full. So I had to take the women out of the mansion, and I had to put them in the graduate house and then get another graduate house. So it's really just expanding because there's such a high demand for this. And now we're building a reputation. So a lot of the legal community is reaching out, interview my client. I think he's going to be a good fit. So it's really just expansion. Yeah, my staff and I work really well together. We make sure that we have adequate time to ourselves where there's other people. It isn't a 9 to 5 job, and it's not just 5 days a week. It is pretty much 24/7. But I have such a phenomenal staff that we work together to make sure that we eliminate or try to avoid burnout. We were just in Florida for a week. We make sure that everybody takes time off. And now that we have the SIT cohort that just started, we have 4 new leaders in training that really help out a lot as well. Yeah. Is that it? Yes. Yeah, we have, it's one staff person per 10 people, but I think we have more than that in Salt Lake. I think there's about 15 or 18 staff members. In Denver, I currently have 5 staff members. That include me and my husband. And then we also have the 4 people that are in the SIT program. So we have about 9. But we like to at least have 1 staff member per 10 students. Yeah. Who's excited about going to the Other Side Academy and having a tour? I really encourage you guys to do it. It's such a remarkable experience. Anybody else? Anybody? No? Okay, don't be shy. Yes, yeah. Helping people. Helping people. There's nothing in the world better than serving somebody else. I've got such a good life. I don't worry about anything. I go to sleep thinking about my students. I wake up thinking about my students. And, you all know that I didn't have the opportunity to be a mother to my child, and I can never get that time back. But I can balance the scales by helping other people as much as I can every day. And I feel really lucky that I get to do it. Joseph always says, God, we're so lucky that you gave up a life at the beach and came. He has no idea I'm the lucky one. And not only that, but through Joseph, I've met such extraordinary people like Mike and Mary and so many wonderful people. My world has just gotten so rich. Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you.